Hello anime lovers, it's Nats from Aninats channel. I'm gonna bring you some cool anime scenes, compilation, and reviews from animes that I personally watched. So, let's get started. In this video I'm gonna bring you an anime movie, which made a deep impression because of the remarkable story and amazing animation pictures. Let's roll. Mitsuha is a young girl, who's bored of her life. One day she screamed, "I'm sick of this town, I'm sick of this life, please make me into a hot Tokyo guy instead," which brings us to our other protagonist called Taki, who happens to be the hot Tokyo guy. This is where the first body switch between Taki and Mitsuha takes place, shown near the beginning, but it actually happens later. Taki and Mitsuha are not only living in two different places but also different timelines. Taki lives in the year 2016 while Mitsuha is in 2013. So when they switch bodies, Mitsuha goes 3 years into the future and Taki goes 3 years into the past. We then go back in time where we discovered that it all began 1,200 years ago, when a comet suddenly appeared and struck the Earth, creating a lake in a town called Itomori. This comet is due to come again, spelling disaster when it strikes. Fast forward to our movie's timeline and Mitsuha's mother dies. This would lead to her father abandoning his family and his duties to the Shinto shrine that they have been entrusted with. Instead, he goes into politics and becomes the mayor of Itomori. Abandoned by their father and left without a mother, Mitsuha and her sister would then be raised by their grandma, and taught the traditions of the shrine, including how to make kuchikama sake, which is made by chewing rice and spitting it out to let it ferment. When Mitsuha grows up, she and her sister perform the ceremony to create her kuchikama sake, which will play a vital part in connecting Taki and Mitsuha later on. The shrine maidens follow certain rituals to worship their gods. It's because of this, there's a mind-transforming power that's been passed down through the shrine maidens who follow these rituals. While Mitsuha is in Taki's body, she received a text on his phone and find out that Taki works at a restaurant. Realizing that she is running late, Mitsuha discovers that being Taki is harder than it seems and is unprepared to work in a restaurant, making several mistakes during the night. A bratty customer wants free food, but since he can't get it, he picks a fight with Taki. Taki's elder colleague Okira comes over to take care of the situation, and the guy even cuts her skirt with a box cutter. After hours, Mitsuha spots the cutting his co-worker's skirt and offers to fix it. Okira is taken back by this and is astonished that Taki now has a feminine side. Taki is back to normal the following day, and when he goes to work, his co-workers want to know more about his relationship with Okira. But he doesn't know what they're talking about. All of a sudden, Miss Okira comes in and wishes everyone a good day, winking at Taki, making him blush. Taki and Mitsuha now realize that they're not dreaming, and that they're uncontrollably body swapping. They take steps to assist each other when they trade bodies and create ground rules by writing messages to each other in a number of ways, so they don't step on each other's toes. Mitsuha rules say that he must be polite and have good manners all times, also he is not allowed to shower while in her body. On the other hand, Taki cautions Mitsuha not to waste his hard-earned money on desserts and candy. Despite their best efforts, they can't help themselves and have a little fun at the expense of the other. At school, Taki manages to make a few guys fall in love with Mitsuha. Meanwhile, Mitsuha flirts with Miss Okira. Both become frustrated at one another for violating their regulations, and when Mitsuha switches back to her body, her family and friends are all worried about her, as they noticed she hadn't been like herself. Her friends fill her in about how strange she was acting, and how she forgot all about her locker, and even how to do her hair. So it confirms it for her that all she experienced was not a dream after all. This causes Mitsuha to track down Taki and meet him. However, what she doesn't know yet is that they're in different timelines, so when they switch bodies, it was 3 years into the future, so when Mitsuha track him, present Taki has no idea who she is. Mitsuha finally tracked him down on the subway, but because they had not switched bodies yet in his timeline, he doesn't recognize her. Her last effort to make a connection to Taki is to give him her ribbons to tie up her hair. When she does, she tells him her name, which helps establish their bond to one another. Mitsuha returns home just in time for the festival her hometown throws every year. During the festival, the comet from before appears, and the comet splits apart. All Itomori is destroyed and Mitsuha dies too. 3 years pass and Taki finds himself in Mitsuha's body. This is an alternate timeline before Mitsuha dies, but also before Taki and her ever meet. These switches happen for several weeks, and happened about twice a week at random. The common trigger for the body switching is sleep. When he goes to bed, sometimes he'll wake up as himself and sometimes he'll wake up as Mitsuha. During this time, Taki and Mitsuha get to know each other more by experiencing each other's lives. They develop their own little system of communicating. After a while, Taki wants nothing more than to meet this girl he's been body swapping with. He gathers her surroundings and makes sketches of the town. But it never occurs to him to ask what the name of her town is. The switches soon stop as Mitsuha died in her timeline, and Taki wants to find out more about the girl he's been switching with. He takes his friends and they journey into the countryside. Taki soon discovers the fate of Itomori, the town that was destroyed 3 years ago when the comet fell. The journal entries Mitsuha left also delete themselves off Taki's phone, and any trace of this girl's existence is gone, except for the red ribbon Taki kept wrapped around his wrists. From there, Taki learns about the tragedy of Itomori, how many people died, and just how much destruction the comet left after it struck the town. On the last day, he finds a key in Mitsuha's body. He remembered the shrine he visited that has something belonging to Mitsuha's family. He didn't know exactly where it was, but he knew it would have a clue as to what he could do. After some searching, he finds the shrine nestled at the center of a crater, left behind from when a comet hit Japan thousands of years ago. But it's a separate comet from the one that made the lake in Itomori, and the one that killed Mitsuha. Inside the shrine, Taki finds the kuchikama sake that Mitsuha made, as well as a mural depicting the comet splitting off across the sky. Taki drinks the kuchikama sake that Mitsuha made, and sees her family's history. He witnesses Mitsuha's mother dying, and her father leaving. All at once he manages to see everything that led up to this point, and miraculously Taki wakes up in Mitsuha's body once again. On the day the comet is going to strike the town, he discovered that the kuchikama sake contains part of Mitsuha's soul, so when Taki went a few drinks, the two connect, allowing them to swap bodies. All this time when Taki and Mitsuha switch bodies, everyone else thinks that the two are having off days. But Grandma figures out what's happened. She tells Taki in Mitsuha's body that heightened spiritual abilities have been passed down in the family for generations. While her dad have long abandoned the family traditions, even he realizes that the person he's speaking to is not his daughter. Taki knows what he has to do next, which is to save the people of Itomori from being destroyed by the comet. He gathers up Mitsuha's friends, and tries to stage a bomb scare at the town festival, so that the citizens will evacuate to the school building, which is outside the comet danger zone. It's not enough to convince people to evacuate, and no one is taking their warnings about the comet serious. While the plan is underway, there is one thing Taki has to do to make sure it all goes right. He has to get Mitsuha back to her own timeline in order to help save her town. Back at the shrine, twilight approaches, and their different worlds blend together. Taki and Mitsuha meet. The two finally meet and recognize one another for the first time. Emotions run high, and Taki returns Mitsuha's red ribbon, the ribbon that she gave him when they first met. They try and write each other's names on the other person's palm, but twilight soon ends and the bond is broken. Taki is back in his own body and timeline, and Mitsuha is back in hers. But the comet is about to hit, and the plan to scare everyone into the school building has failed. People are not aware of the danger. She only has one chance to save her family and her town, and that involves convincing her dad to allow the emergency services to evacuate the town. While she struggles to run down the mountain back into town, she struggles to remember the person she bonded with up there. Taki didn't get to write his name, but he did manage to write "I love you" on Mitsuha's palm. She doesn't remember who wrote this or how it got on her hand, but she can feel something inside her, something that gives her the strength to push on against the impossible odds. She reaches her father in time, and managed to evacuate the city just before the comet strikes. Now that the town is saved, timelines merge into one, and because Mitsuha never died, she and Taki live in the present, and because Taki returned Mitsuha's ribbon, neither of them remember the other's name. It's like all the events that led up to this point suddenly vanished. However, that's not to say that they have completely forgotten one another. 12 years have passed, and the two live their lives normally. The both of them get the feeling that something or someone is missing from their lives. While he's on the train, a person passes by and catches his eye. He can't remember where, but he feels like he might have met that person in another life. The two frantically look for one another, and they finally meet. Taki meets Mitsuha properly for the first time. They ask for one another's name, and the anime ends here. Although drama and romance genre is not my favorite, but I find this anime is very worth watching. I hope you guys may enjoy it too. See you in my next video.